Thank you, JC. Actually, my job today will be very easy. It will be to put Suriname on your radar. And because Suriname is in a phase of development, if you know Guyana, that is now in an oil boom, you can expect to have Suriname on your radar from 2028, when Suriname will be going into an oil boom. And my job will be to get your attention in advance before the 2028 oil boom, because a lot of legislation has to be put in place. And the forum that Honorable Pittenger and you yourself have put in place, I see as a remarkable initiative to put forward these ideas and get the cooperation to get the legislation in place for the next wave of Suriname's development. So my name is Michael Adhin, Speaker of the National Assembly of Suriname. And I will just introduce Suriname to you in a general sense and then go over to some security and intelligence issues. It is an honor for me to join you and introduce Suriname's strategic position and outline why our cooperation and your cooperation is essential in strengthening our national security and legislative capacity as we prepare for the transformational oil boom projected from 2028 onward for Suriname. Thank you for the opportunity. And how our geography, economy, and social realities shape both risks and opportunities for deeper cooperation with our partners in the Western Hemisphere will be my focus. If you can get the next slide. Suriname is a small state. Okay, yes. Suriname is a small state on the northern Atlantic coast of South America, sharing borders with Guyana to the west, French Guyana to the east, and Brazil to the south. Next slide, please. You can see this. Yeah, Guyana, French Guyana. Now you get an idea where it is located. Next slide. We've just celebrated also. Yes, this is more the Guyana Shield. Next. We've just had our independence, 50 years, celebrated the 25th of November. It was a very reflective moment for us to see how far we've come. And that's one of the reasons that this is the third time that I join this esteemed forum of Mr. Pittenger, because we have to put a lot in place when it comes to intelligence and security for Suriname. Next slide, please. More than 90% of our land mass is rainforest, placing Suriname among the most heavily forested countries in the world. Our geography situates as a literal intersection of South America and the wider Caribbean. We are a bridge, both maritime and aerial, between major hemispheric routes. And the next slide, we see our population is just under 700,000. It's like Oklahoma with only 700,000 people, you can say, in the US. And we are, well, like I said, roughly 9 out of 10 Surinamese live along the coast, particularly around the capital, Paramaribo. The interior, vast and density of our forest contains only a small share of our citizens. This imbalance of all the people, almost 9/10 at the coast and the rest in the rest of the interior, is an imbalance that is created and brings unique security challenges. Enormous territory, low popular density, difficult terrain, and high operational costs for state presence in the areas. The next slide. Diversity. So Suriname is one of the most ethnically and culturally diverse societies in the Americas. We have Hindustanis, we have Maroon people, we have Javanese that came from Indonesia, we have Creole, we have indigenous and other communities. Many indigenous and Maroon communities reside in the interior along river systems. Their lives are entwined in the forest and live along the river banks. This diversity is of course our strength, but it requires inclusive governance and very sensitive security policy and sustained engagement with the local voices. Suriname is both a South American country, as you've seen, and a committed member of the CARICOM, the Caribbean Community. Next slide, please. We sit near major shipping lanes and air corridors, and unfortunately, along routes used for transnational cocaine trafficking to Europe, Africa, and to a lesser degree, United States. Yes, next. Our emerging offshore oil potential is increasing international attention, like you've seen in Guyana, on our maritime space, and will shape our strategic relevance in this decade. Suriname is a small, you can see here the special economic zone. These are the oil concessions and the blocks that are giving out. You have Chevron, you have Total Energies, you have Apache. All these are in the blocks. About, you can say, 10 billion barrels of oil reserves are here, now only proven. There are more studies being done. But 10 billion barrels of oil in this northern region economic zone. Offshore is what Suriname now is being concessioned to different actors. Next slide. A small economy, like I said, but natural resource rich. Mining, particularly gold, accounts for a significant share of our exports and public revenues. The resource base is an opportunity, but it also exposes us to the commodity price volatility and governance risks. In recent years, Suriname faced high inflation, fiscal stress, and exchange rate instability. And important reforms are underway, and macroeconomic stability is gradually improving. Baseline growth prospects are modest. In the next slide, where we have almost 2.5% to 3.5% growth every year, but with a substantial upside once offshore oil production begins later in the decade. However, this upside will only materialize under strong governance and disciplined public financial management. At the same time, Suriname faces significant climate risks, particularly in the coastal plain, where we call the coast is very low, so water and floods and climate change have their impact, because 87% of our people live in the coast. Next slide. Our national security challenges are interlinked, not purely military in nature. The key threats include transnational drug trafficking and organized crime, corruption and institutional vulnerabilities, illegal gold mining. We have IM Gold, we have Newmont, or American companies that are well established in Suriname, and environmental degradation. Human trafficking and migrant exploitation is one of the key threats. Emerging cyber and critical infrastructure risks, and social economic stress and inequality. In the next slide, we see that international reports identify Suriname as a transit point of cocaine flows from South America towards Europe and to a lesser extent to the USA, the United States. Maritime routes, air corridors, container traffic, and river systems create multiple access points for criminal exploitation. This challenge is regional, affecting the Guyanas and the Caribbean. So French Guyana, Suriname almost have the same problems when it comes to this issue. But it has direct consequences, of course, for our institutions, communities, and of course our reputation. The next slide. More than 4/5 of Surinamese territory is dense rainforest. It's part of the Amazon. We're actually the most forested country in the world, 93% forested. With some of the lowest population densities in the hemisphere, many communities are accessible only by rivers, unpaved tracks, or small aircrafts. This makes permanent state presence costly and operationally very difficult. In the next slide, you see why illegal airstrips are so hard to stop. The forest canopy obscures surveillance. Temporary and clandestine landing sites can be created very rapidly for drugs to come down with little airplanes. Our air and maritime domain awareness systems are limited relative to territorial size. Criminal networks adapt faster than enforcement cycles, and corruption risks can undermine frontline capacity. In the next slide, we see that the interior communities, one of the threats is also that the interior communities often face limited access to services such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and markets. These conditions are exploited by illicit actors, whether in drug trafficking, illegal mining, or human smuggling. Next, climate change adds further pressure. Flooding disrupts infrastructure, weakens state functions, and creates openings, again, for illicit activity. And in our next slide, we see, for our partners, especially the United States and the Caribbean, these dynamics matter. Drug routes crossing Suriname affect your communities as well. Institutional fragility in any state produces spillovers. Secure and predictable maritime and air corridors are shared interest. In the next slide, we see that our priorities for cooperation. And for these reasons, Suriname prioritizes deeper cooperation, intelligence sharing, and joint enforcement targeting transnational crime. That is what we try to cooperate with. Enhanced air and maritime domain awareness, radar, tracking, data fusion, customs, anti-money laundering, and financial integrity systems to counter illicit flows, and sustainable development in the interior to reduce illicit economies. And of course, climate change and climate resilience and disaster risk management in our coastal zones. In closing, allow me to conclude with 3 key messages. First of all, Suriname may be small. We are 6 times the size of Holland, Netherlands. But we are small when you look at 700,000 people, like I said, or the size of Oklahoma. We are a small country, but we are strategically located at a crossroad with regional implications. Second, our security challenges are interconnected. Geography, economics, governance, climate, and criminal activity. And third, Suriname is committed to being a responsible and capable partner. With the right cooperation, including the United States, the Caribbean, and the wider international community, we can turn vulnerabilities, we say, in opportunities for shared security and shared prosperity. And I thank you and look forward to deepening our partnership. I hope that I gave a good idea of Suriname for you to put it on your radar. Thank you.